It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be part of this discussion. And I really appreciate this initiative, the practical approach from Juno School to involve industry experts or industry practitioners every week for a discussion with the learners. Himadri, just now what you have mentioned is absolutely right. Sales is actually experiential learning. We can learn a lot of models, and we have learned over a period of time, different models, different types of approaches, full-blown training workshops and all. But from my experience of more than 20 years in sales and business development, my learning is sales is absolutely experiential. Of course, we need to know the foundation, the knowledge in terms of what are the different models which are applicable. But coming back to the topic, sales is a social science and completely experiential. And so it's so important to learn from others. And experience, as we say, that experience is actually conglomeration of all the mistakes we have done, right? So I do not know whether you have seen my intro video, but I wanted to mention over there that over a period of 20 years, I have failed and succeeded many times in different sales situations. Why I mentioned that failed and succeeded? Because one of the key skill or key approach, attitude we need to have in sales career is resilience.
Yes.
A salesperson is the most rejected person in the world. Every day, in 10 attempts, possibly 9 will go haywire, and it will continue day after day. So what is critically important is that how do we bring resilience for us? Anyway, I'll not get into all those GANs and skills requirement or the models. The reason is I have also gone through the previous speakers, some of the sessions taken by Himadri and other speakers. Some of them are my industry colleagues also. I have gone through those, so I will not repeat most of these, but some of the common themes will always be there. Okay. So first, this discussion will start with the discussion. It's not about I'm giving you a lecture, and I also mentioned that it's a learning opportunity for me as well. Every sales situation is different from the others. Every learning situation is different from other situations. So from your questions, from your discussions, I'll also take this opportunity to learn from you. So let me also tell you that the slides that I am presenting is just for facilitation purpose. It's more about the discussion that we'll be focusing on.
Sure.
Just a minute. Is it coming up?
Yeah, you can do a full slide, Dibakar. It's on a slide shorter still.
Right.
Yeah, great.
Okay. There is a little bit of play of semantics here. The sales cycle, the long and short of it. That means that can we discuss about everything? It's not about that. Rather, it's about understanding how long and how short a sales cycle depending on different situations. And here we'll start the discussion, and I'd like to have your voices coming in about 3 situations we are going to discuss. So the one is very easy. A customer is buying a refrigerator at a Vijay sales store. In place of the customer, you can also think about yourself, your parents. We have all gone through this kind of situation at consumer durable sales showroom. And what typically happens there is about a direct one-on-one sales pitch from the demonstrator who will be there. The second situation is about Apollo Hospital is a largest chain of hospital in India, is trying to buy state-of-the-art ventilators. Now, there is a interesting thing here. Why I mentioned ventilators? Because ventilators are now a very common known items thanks to COVID, right? We all remember the shortage of ventilators were well known. Every hospital across the country, whether it's government or private, they are looking for buying ventilators. There are companies who came together to create new ventilators, and they are doing it for all the hospitals across India, right? And a third situation, we'll go one by one. Third situation is a huge Indian company.
Dibakar,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm interjecting. I
yeah.
don't know whether it's at my end, the screen that is getting displayed. There are two rectangle patches, one vertically, one horizontally. So is it okay if you can stop your screen share and do it once again? Because that's kind of hiding the written text on
Okay,
the slide.
okay, okay. Just a minute.
Yeah.
Let me try.
Yeah, just stop the screen share once and then again share it because we can see these two
Stop
patches.
share. Okay, okay.
Yeah, just try doing it once more.
Thanks for interjecting. Is it coming up?
Oh,
Yeah.
now the area has become even more. Can you just do a full screen?
I'm doing a full screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still there. So Dibakar, what I'll do is let's do a quick fix there. I'm just gonna give you my email ID on the chat. Can you mail
Yeah.
the presentation to me and I'll run it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a minute.
Because most of the participants would not be able to see it, then doesn't make sense.
Yeah, just a minute.
Guys, I'm so sorry for this. Guys, please bear with us for a moment. A quick kill that we need to figure out here. I've mailed you my email.
Yeah.
So till then, others, you can probably, keep your questions ready or think through and, try to make this more interactive. And in case if you have a question, put it on the chat box or you can raise your virtual hands and I will unmute you so that you guys can ask your questions. So let's keep this more of an interactive session while I get this fixed. Dibakar, let me know once you mail the PPT.
I just sent. Yeah, I just sent it.
Okay, sure. I'll just check.
Good. Till the time the PowerPoint comes up, let me go back to the question and the situation. So the first situation is a customer is trying to buy a refrigerator at Vijay sales store. So what kind of sales is happening? Question. And how much time do you think that this kind of process will take? Just two things. What kind of sales and how much time it will require?
Guys, you can put your responses on the chat box.
You can, yeah. B2C maximum 20 minutes. Great. Retail sales, fantastic. 1 hour could be max of 1 hour. Okay, fine. I think you have got it right. This is a retail sales situation, business to consumer, maximum 1 hour, or maybe the customer will come back after going to another store, maybe in next 2 to 3 days time. During particular process, the demonstrator needs to present the benefits and also the cost benefit situation. You're right. Situation 2, Apollo Hospital is trying to buy, I just mentioned a equipment called ventilator for all the hospitals across India. They have more than 20 outlets or hospitals. They are trying to buy it from companies who are manufacturing this equipment, what kind of situation it is in terms of the sales type and how long time it can take. Lengthy process, tendering, evaluation, purchase, good. Corporate sales 1 to 3 months. B2B may require 2 to 3 meeting to close it. Okay, 2 weeks to 1 month. Okay, very good answers so far. Absolutely right. This is a business to business situation. Now, here is a catch word I have used called ventilators. Okay, and I have been into corporate sales, particularly in the medical devices, pharmaceutical side for at least for the last 7-8 years. Okay, and typically what you have mentioned is right. These kind of sales take around 3 months to sometimes even 12 months. Why it takes such a long time? Because these kind of procurement require capital budget. That budgeting happens sometimes in a previous financial year, and the execution happens in the next financial year. The typical timeline is around 3 to 9 months. That has been the case. But now there is another element to it, that is the sense of urgency at the end of customer. The entire cycle can change depending on the sense of urgency. From my experience of dealing with the government customers, like state governments, central government, this kind of sales process of selling a very high-end capital equipment to a government customer takes minimum 9 to 12 months. During COVID time, when everything was under lockdown, this sales process of selling 200 ventilators to one of the state government system, it was closed in just 5 days. Okay, so depending on the sense of urgency at the end of customer, the sales cycle, even in B2B, can get shrunk at a possibly 1/10 of time of the average time taken historically. So the lesson from here is, whether it's B2B or B2C, the customer's need and customer's sense of urgency at that point of time can vary the cycle period. And now I'm going back to this particular example of a customer who is trying to buy a refrigerator. And this is from my own experience in my very early stage of career. A customer came to the counter while they had a baby at home. Okay, the previous refrigerator stopped working. They just needed the delivery within 2 hours because, I mean, everything have to be kept, everything have to be refrigerated. So sense of urgency makes a huge difference in the overall cycle process timeline. And the third is an example of a corporate sales and a large scale sales. This is a $2 billion Indian company trying to negotiate an exclusive contract from a $30 billion US MNC. Okay, very real life situation. They want to get the exclusive product distribution right in India. And the resulting contract will give them a sales of $200 million, which is approximately, you can take around 1,600 crores, right? Over next 5 years period. This is a huge sales opportunity. Once again, clearly it's a B2B sales opportunity. How do you, I mean, how much time do you think it can take? You can be absolutely absurd, because I know that many of you will not know about such kind of situation, but this is my opportunity to give you an exposure to this kind of thing. Sandeep, thanks. You are mentioning 6 to 7 months. Great. B2B situation may take up to 6 months for closure with contract signing. Very good. Contract signing is a very critical one. 1 year? Okay, good. Around 1 year, good. Yes, this kind of contract signing where all the elements or all the functions are involved. What kind of functions? The finance will be involved. The legal functions will be involved. Contract means a legal contract. That means that both companies have to get into a legal contract signing. So it's just not about giving a pitch, acceptance of the proposal by the finance. It doesn't end there. There has to be a legal contract to it, and that takes a lot of time. And in a very similar example that I did in my career for twice, it took around, fastest was around 14 months and the other one was around 18 months. So some of the newspaper report that you see that a company is getting a contract of $200 million over from another government organization or a private organization, those building of the entire thing takes around 12 to 18 months. Now, why I'm mentioning here about the importance of sales cycle? Because in your career, you will be either working for or working with companies of different type. It could be a B2C company, it could be a B2B company. Even a B2C company can get into a dealing with another B2C company for distribution, right? In that case, for even a B2C product, the entire situation changes. And for that, you need to have a logical expectation about the time period of sales cycle. Why it is important? It is important because that sales is completely driven by metrics. So your boss or your reportees will require an estimate about the time taken to close the sales. Why it is important? Say, for example, for refrigerator sales, somebody mentioned that this will be closed within 20 minutes. Is absolutely right. In that case, the refrigerator sales at Vijay Sales will be tracked on an everyday basis, right? How many from the counter, how many refrigerator sales is happening, right? Now, if we come to the second or third situation, we cannot expect a final sales to happen even in months. But during that process, a salesperson is involved in the selling process, including many other functions, right? So in that case, as a supervisor or as an employee or as a new joinee, if you expect or if you give a commitment that this sales will happen in 3 months, then it's a completely lost case. Because suppose as a salesperson, you give a commitment to your supervisor or to your company that, you know what, I can close this sales in 3 months, say situation 2 or 3. Then accordingly, the company will budget a particular target, will budget particular expenses, right? And after that, if suppose it doesn't happen, then that entire process will be called to question, and possibly the person who is dealing in such kind of situation will lose job. This is very, very common. And these common mistakes happen because of wrong estimation about the sales cycle timeline. There is nothing wrong in the effort. There is nothing wrong in the caliber of the products, but it's about how do you create the estimate of the sales cycle and what kind of activities should be done in that kind of short sales cycle to long sales cycle. Now, with that kind of topic introduction, I would like to give a very quick introduction of mine. So Himadri, can you please switch on to the next slide? Please do not mind about some of the challenges with the animation. You can do it full blown, Himadri. Yeah. So this is a high forest from a salesperson. I'm very happy that I'm interacting with you. And my role here to talk to you as a salesperson who started his career from the very first sales job. So way back in 98, when I passed out my mechanical engineering, everybody was either going for an engineering shop floor job or software jobs. However, I always felt at that point of time that I do have knack for sales. Though I didn't even study. The basis was I used to interact with people, meet people, and go to a lot of new places. So that was the basis. There is no way it was connected to whatever study I had. And from there, I chose a job which is completely related to sales. So that was my first position in a company, Voltas. They used to make, they don't make now. This is a product called forklift truck. Okay. So this is used in industrial houses for material handling products. And after that, I figured out maybe I should also get into a consumer durables kind of thing, because things move fast there. And let me try out what is happening there. So I moved on to Godrej Appliances. So within 3 years, almost 2 jobs. And at that point of time, maybe I thought that, okay, I learned a little bit about sales. Why not a formal training in business management and all? Did my MBA from IIM Indore, 2003, passed out. And from there onwards, very interestingly, and I have marked the sales word multiple times, over a period of around 20 years now, I sold many products. The first one was basically a CD of a movie called Naya Pyar Ka Diwani Hu. I still remember during the break, the first break, I stood outside the Mumbai Theatre Hall and tried to sell this CD to the moviegoers as a part of the alternative sales process. Okay. And why I'm mentioning this here, when you are into sales, you have to think that you need to try out whatever ethical process is there to achieve the sales of that product. It doesn't matter whether it is you are going to stand in front of the mall, or whether you are going to stand in front of the cinema hall to sell a product. Okay. So starting from there, I moved on to a company which is into engineering products, and is also used for a consumer segment called DuPont Korean Solid Surfaces. I managed sales in north and western region. Then switched on to another company, Johnson & Johnson, in medical devices. That was my first entry into biological side of the thing, though I have never studied biology in my 11th, 12th, but remained very successful in managing sales in eastern region and southern region. Started as a regional sales executive, was promoted as regional sales manager. Okay. For particularly products related to surgical segment. Moved on to Accenture, stayed very short period of time, managed the sales acceleration of Tata Nano. The product is no more there, but that was a very learning phase about how do we sell cars in consumer environment. And later on, once again, back to pharmaceutical side, got multiple promotions in career in Lilly. Eventually got the CXO level director corporate affairs in 2017 and maintained that till with Medtronic. Now, it's not about my bio. Though I have mentioned it, it's about how sales remain connected in the whole career that I have mentioned here. And Himadri, can you just press the enter? And here I'll be sharing the learning with you, and very, very important learning. First of all, sales is the central function for any for-profit organization. I'm not talking about NGOs. Okay, for any organization, it's a central function. Even if you are planning for your own business, eventually the one single important function is sales. it's very challenging. At times, it's really challenging. And I once again mentioned that I failed and succeeded in many, many attempts. So standing in front of the movie theater trying to sell CDs is not an easy job, because somebody who is coming out for a pee break from the theater is not willing to buy the CD of that product, right? But we need to try. And then an extremely rewarding. This is important to understand. And I can tell you from my career with Johnson & Johnson, a person who used to get a typical salary of around 5 lakhs, maximum 5 lakhs as a typical sales, used to earn an incentive of 18 lakhs. Okay, that is the level of incentive a good salesperson used to get in 2010. The level of incentives is actually sky limit. For good salesperson, a good salesperson can even earn twice of his or her sales manager. And I being a regional sales manager, I remember 2% in my team who at least got 1.5 times more than me in 2010 and 11. Okay, and this is a very important part, that if you are not driven by incentive, my suggestion will be, please do not choose sales career, because the entire team will be driving the agenda for incentive, and persons who are very achievement oriented should be going for this. Otherwise, it may not be a very rewarding career. And whatever I'm saying, please understand that I'm talking about ethical sales at all point of time. The third learning, and this I can say that you can feel a barrier in your mind, and while looking at even in my career also, you can say that, oh, you had a degree from IIM, so it was much be easy for you. My submission to all of you is that in a sales career, formal education doesn't matter except for the entry level. I can give you plenty of examples from my companies I worked with where a salesperson became a CEO. Not in one company, in multiple companies. Okay, today I can take names and I can tell them that they just started as a front level salesperson and eventually became either the divisional head or the director of the company, or even the managing director of the companies in India and outside also. So there are people I know that who joined in 2003 as sales rep, has already become a managing director much before me. So that's a big learning, that the education, formal education, doesn't matter much in sales. What really matters is your persuasion, your dedication for this particular profession. Finally, I can't see just a minute. You can see the screen. I think my screen is blocked. Just a second. And finally, and exactly that's what you are doing. Can you please go back, Himadri? Yeah. Finally, upskilling, reskilling are extremely critical for your career, and that is critical for whatsoever career you choose. But in sales, it's particularly critical. The reason is the products, the technology will change. The new technologies will come up, and a good salesman with an achievement track record will definitely get opportunity even in the newer technology. Why I mention this, in Saregama, the CDs and cassettes are not being sold. In Tata Nano, car is no more there, right? So all these products will go away. What will remain is the the skills that a person will have, because that cannot be taken away, which has been built over experience. So now let's quickly come back to the topic that we are discussing, and then we'll be making it an open house. So next slide, please, Himandri. Yeah. So I have seen from the previous presentations, I'll not get into the details of it because somebody presented on sales funneling, somebody presented on overall sales process. These 7 stages of sales cycle remains same across B2B or B2C. It's generally the same: prospecting, make contact, qualify your prospect, nurturing your prospect, then presenting your offer, overcome objections, and close the sale. The 3 situations that we have seen, in all these situations, whether it's 20 minutes or 20 months, this is the process that remains universal, that you should understand. Only thing is that in each of these stages, the time taken to achieve the first milestones will vary. So for example, presenting your offer for hospitals which is trying to buy an equipment, they will be asking for a lot of evidence whether this product has created benefit for the other customers and all. Presenting those benefits, taking the customers to the actual another customer side will give them the assurance that yes, this product has worked for another hospital, so our hospital can also buy it. The same thing happens for even for refrigerator also. We check from our neighbors that whether LG, Samsung refrigerator is doing good for them. Then from that assurance, we go and make a purchase decision. In a B2B sales situation, that process takes a little longer. It's a high capital incentive investment, and hence the need of assurance, the need of evidence is much more. So the time taken to move into these stages and covering those stages changes a lot, short to long. And that's the industry examples that I have shared with you in terms of the different industry. Himadri, can you go to the next slide, please? So here is a typical difference between B2B versus B2C sales. I do not know about all the participants and their inclination in terms of whether they would like to go for B2B sales or B2C sales, but it's important to understand the differences, because you may be switching your careers from a B2C to B2B or B2B to B2C. So for example, I have shown you, I have done it, right? But depending on the cycle, the metrics will change in each of this cycle. So for example, in a Tata Motors car dealer showroom, there will be weekly sales reporting which will be happening. Okay. And the dealer salespersons has to provide weekly sales report in terms of the prospects which have come, in terms of the footfall they have received in a particular dealer showroom. Then taking them for giving them a very critical measurement is how those customers are getting the free drive that they get, the sample drive that they get. Then from there, how many customers have got direct access to finance, whether they need a loan or they can buy directly, and what is the timeline they have in their mind to close the deal. Okay. So depending on these, the sales metrics change. Sales metrics will also change when there is a huge sales cycle period. In an 18 months of sales cycle period, the salesperson who is managing this deal, you can also understand the level of that person's motivation. The deal will result in maybe around 50 crores of revenue, but the deal will not be realized in 18 months. But for the 12 months full cycle, that person will be earning salary but no incentive, right? So it is so important for those kind of sales cycle to have some interim metrics moving from one stage to another stage of the sales cycle, because say around 75 weeks time, we need to see in different aspect how these metrics are moving, whether the prospecting has been completed, whether the stakeholders have been identified, how many stakeholders are there. In a B2B situation, it's just not only the procurement officer who is buying. There's a finance person, there is a director, there's a business person, who are all involved in the buying process. So depending on that, for each of these stages, what we need to look at, that how the milestones are moving. And there is now that adoption of technology in the entire selling cycle. So there are lots of lead mining software which is there. I have seen that one of my industry colleague, Shireen, was mentioning about funnel generation, right? For one example that she was mentioning in one of the session. So depending on the buying situation, technologies are adopted, and a salespersons today provide their inputs in terms of the movement of different sales stages on the mobile app created by the individual companies. So by the end of the day or by the end of the week, the salesperson needs to give those milestones achievement. Sometimes the incentives or compensations are given based on the milestone achievement and not up to the end stage of the sales process, because one cannot expect a person to wait for incentives to come at the 18 months end. Rather, the compensation possibly will be given depending on the achievement of the different stages, but at a various percentage. So I'll stop here. I'll now invite, it's almost 12:40 now. I'll now invite questions, comments, observations, so that we can discuss on this topic or related to any other topic, whether it's FMCG sales or B2B sales. Thanks.
Guys, if you have any questions, please put it on the chat box, or you can raise your virtual hands. I'll unmute you and you can ask your questions. Anybody? Yeah, Manish. Please go ahead, ask your question.
Sure. Hey, Dibakar. So the question is actually in long cycle, right? I mean, if in case my target is around some number, definitely long cycle of 18 to 19 months, we will not achieve the target, right? So how do we convince back to our management, because targets are quarterly driven?
Fantastic question. And there, I think the role of the salesperson in terms of making this discussion to the table, even during joining also. So why I'm saying this, I can take from my example particularly. I know that in the government business, the sales are generally very high value. So multi-crore sales will happen. But due to the tendering process, budgeting process involved, it takes around 12 to 18 months. And there is a documented process to it. It's not that I'm just faking it. So while having a discussion with the management, I have presented the evidences that this is the tender date, which the tender date has come. And finally, the tender award has happened over 9 months period. And tender to then when the tender date has come, there is a pre-tender process is also there, the pre-bid and all this, right? So I mapped out the entire cycle in front of the management and let them know that this is the entire process for the team, and the team which is involved will take around 18 months time to crack these deals. And hence we should incentivize based on the activities they are doing at these accounts. So for example, they will be getting some incentives if they ensure that customer from one center is visiting another center who has already bought the system, right? So that is the way the incentivization or the compensation or the target achievement can be made phase-wise. But if it is a 0-1 game, means that you say that, okay, end of 18 months, we'll be achieving 10 crores of this thing. It will not work there, and it will not bring conviction for the management also. I have seen all the very good question there, that is it only incentive that should be driving? The answer is no. So the answer is definitely no. It is the achievement orientation that can be easily seen in the successful salesperson life, right? And it it is about target achievement can be a way of life for some people. You just cannot put all people in the same basket. There are people who are very good in managing process, managing customer service. Their end of the day or end of the year, no particular revenue target is being achieved directly. So whether the people over there are happy or unhappy, there are many happy employees in those departments, and that we have seen in finance and many other profession also, right? So the answer is no, but achievement orientation is important, and at the end of the day, achievement orientation means we'll be getting either a recognition or reward. So this could be a financial reward, or could be a promotion within the company, or for my business, possibly getting a new customer. So that's the answer. What are the important questions to ask in the first tips to build rapport? Vignesh, very good question. So on the second question, tips to build rapport, it actually can take hours. So we have gone through trainings for days on how do you analyze a customer, or how do you analyze the environment of the customer. So suppose a customer is, I'm meeting a customer, and how do I see the environment he is sitting in? So what are there behind his chair? Whether what kind of desk that person is maintaining? What are the different things lying around the desk? What kind of question? I mean, against my question, what are the answers, initial answers we are getting? So it is called basically mapping a customer and understanding the psychological need of that person. Depending on that, there will be methods to build strategies. You have must have been gone through spin selling process. One selling process we used to follow in Johnson & Johnson called integrity sales. That gives how do you build rapport, and how do we look at different customers and build the rapport. In case the deal, okay, that's me. I think I'm not answering all questions serially. Just hold on. What are the important questions to ask in the first business meeting? It's generally, so here what we try to do, it's about interview approach. You have seen the interviews, right? The whole idea of interviewers is to get more answers than you are talking about it. The first objective will be to drive the customer to talk more. And it may not be the case, because the customers can be introvert and extrovert. So those understanding has to be there depending on the signals we are getting from the environment. Then how you sold high ticket sales product as you worked in Voltas company. It's a B2B situation, product sales, and Himadri, I do not know whether you have already covered any B2B sales module. Question, Himadri?
So Dibakar, what we do is we actually go through the sales process, and definitely when we're covering that, we actually give examples that how do you use this technique in a B2B space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So very quickly is that understanding of the need of the market and the industry. We need to, in an industrial situation, what we need to see that we need to understand the trend. So for example, if we see that there is an overall trained in moving, the export is moving up, suppose. That means what? Export is moving up means there will be more containers which will be moving out of the ports. That means what? The containers have to be moved through material handling system. That means that that particular port will be requiring more forklift, for example. Same could be if once we identify that a company has got export order or the huge order from another company, that is the time we understand that there will be a lot of material movement which will happen in that company, and hence there could be a typical need of upgrading the material handling system in that company. So depending on that, we have to select the customers because we cannot go everywhere. And finally, for each of those, then the customer stakeholders segmentation has to happen. Who will be the key stakeholders in the entire buying process? And finally, presenting the deal and negotiating the deal. Is handling data and analytical skills important? Absolutely important, no doubt about it. Sales cannot happen without analytics data. And there is a data mining which is also required. I mentioned very briefly, when there is a sales happening over 18 months period, it may happen that a salesperson is moving out from that company and going to another company. So if the data is not there about the customer's base, about what was the discussion in the previous meetings, then a person needs to start from scratch. So completely the effort will be wasted.
Dibakar, I have Sanjay who's raised his hand for quite some time, so I may want to unmute him.
Yeah, please, Sanjay, please.
Sanjay, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Hi, Sanjay.
Actually, Actually, I'm in the pharma, Danone India. You might be knowing the name. Actually, I'm trying for Tata Hospital, Jamshedpur, to get my product entered in that hospitals. I'm trying from last more than 1.5 years, but I'm unable to success to register my brand. Whenever I'm meeting with the purchase authority or doctor, he's telling me, you don't worry, I will do it when I will get the opportunity. You don't worry, your product is good. This way he's just, and two question is there, and how I'm going to make a opening very powerful.
No, Sanjay, it's a great question, and I have sold products in Tata Hospital in Jamshedpur, so I do understand the situation, procurement process. So, meeting only the procurement person or the procurement authority will not help. In this kind of situation, what we also need is the key opinion leader in a particular sales process. So a person, maybe there is a person who is designated as head of procurement, but that person is only doing the transaction. But for buying a particular product, there has to be a pull or push which should come from the internal other authority members. Say, for example, in typical pharmaceutical side, it happens through the department head who are managing a particular service or particular therapeutic area. Say, for example, in this case, maybe, and particularly for the cancer hospitals, what we have seen, there is a department which is taking care of the nutrition for morbid patients. And in that case, the hospital or the system needs a specific requirement or specific products. In that case, the key opinion leader may not be a direct buyer in the system, but that person can forward the requirement to the procurement that why it is important for the beneficiaries of this particular hospital. So Tata hospitals will have Tata employees or ex-employees who will require and who will benefit from these products, and hence support from the key opinion leader is important, and also presenting the clinical benefits from other countries or in other hospitals which has already benefited the patients over there. So that's in brief, Sanjay.
Okay, and how we will make that powerful opening?
Sanjay, frankly, there is no powerful opening, and quickly I'll share one anecdote. This is one hospital I went with one of the top sales guy, and I mentioned that that person earned 1.5 times of my overall compensation in that period. So we went to this hospital around 9:30 to meet the HOD, and he went there and just spoke about that we have this system, and he's a very busy person, right? A doctor is very busy. He said no. Okay, we came out of this thing. So 1 o'clock, he went back there with me. He took me also. I said that why are you going? He said no. He went there. We went inside and told sir, this is the thing we are talking about. Then he said that I told you no, right? Then this person told that you told me no, but that I thought that means that not now. So 9 a.m. you told me no means at that point of time it is not important. At 12:30 when he now see this is a powerful situation, Sanjay, and I mean this is experience, right? That person understood that, oh my God, this is a person, he's coming back and with a lot of enthusiasm and lot of vigor. And even in his busy schedule, he said that, okay, sit down, let me understand what you have. Okay. Rejections will be there. In one-on-one personal situation, there will be rejections, but eventually I have seen that it doesn't depend on how good you speak. It doesn't depend on whether you have a very good PowerPoint deck or not. What it really matters is the enthusiasm, it's your conviction, and how you eventually build the connect with that person. And it may not be, and most of the cases, the first attempt may not be successful, but that should not be your last attempt. It can break the ice even after third or fourth attempt. So there are situations I have been thrown out of the customer's office. The reason that person had a very bad experience with my company that point of time for some reason. But we managed to go back and present our case, because most of the time you can even remember from your example also in life. Suppose you had a bad experience with one particular brand or one particular instant when your AC didn't work, you develop an impression about that particular company, right? You get blocked. And the same situation happens for all our customers. But finally, the salesperson matter a lot. Actually, in one-on-one sales situation, the customer doesn't buy from the company. The person buys from that salesperson who is visiting him.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. I got these things. Okay.
How can you increase sales in banking, insurance, sales, current account? Sahas, good question, but I'll not be able to cover all different industry segment in a short period of time. Maybe it has to be done in a little bit of a module based. As you said, the client can be introvert or extrovert, and same is with the sales rep, right? Let's say I'm an introvert sales guy and I'm having anxiety before meeting. Oh, fabulous question, Naveen. I loved it. The reason is, one of the reason I went to a sales career was, as I mentioned, that I'm generally meeting people, love to meet people. At the same time, I was very bad in English because I studied in Bengali medium school, and I understood that if I go to a sales career, then I have to speak in English. I have to develop my communication skills, right? So I had a lot of anxiety. Lot of anxiety means, I mean, completely frozen before a first meetings. And so initially, because you are meeting as a 22-year-old sales guy, I'm meeting person who are 50 years old, very sophisticated in Tata Group of companies and all. But those anxieties have two sides. One is, how do we prepare more? So that should be the motto in that case. Fear has different approaches, or fear brings in different personality in us, whether we are going to freeze ourselves over there or we want to overcome that. So my suggestion will be, before a meeting, though you are very highly motivated, you should remember one thing, that most of the times, if you are persuasive, if you are honest, the other person will definitely give you the opportunity. Naveen, I think you, Bhaskar has raised his hand. Bhaskar, over to you. So Himadri, I do have time to maybe if it takes around 10 minutes more, I'm okay with that. I know we are at almost at the end of the hour.
No worries, Dibakar, you can definitely go ahead and take the question. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, Bhaskar, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. My name is Bhaskar. Actually, my English not good. Okay. Yeah, actually, I have a 2 years experience in sales department for Sani Heavy Industry Private Limited, authorized dealers Relaxmi Infra Equipments. Actually, I work in 2 years, but I have a lot of experience. Before I joining this department, I have a zero knowledge. But what is the sale, what is the prospects, what is the lead generation I have. But I struck in only my native place only. How to improve my career in another, speak English in different type of customers, how to speak, how to explain our product in globally. I've struck in only in dealer, but my aim is I got in OEM sector. How to improve my skills and how to become start in further step.
Bhaskar, thanks for talking about your story. I had a team member in one of the companies. He could come because of family situation and all. He could only complete up to class 10 and started working with a dealer. Okay. And worked there for the dealer in sales only, based in Kerala, native place. Today, that person is an associate director in a multinational company, and this transformation has happened over almost 15 years, because I have seen him becoming sales frontline salesperson to associate director, earning around 70 lakhs per annum, that he achieved around 3-4 years ago. And once again, I stress the fact that he had zero knowledge. He had a sort of an appearance which is not very appealing for a salesperson. Very frankly, I'm telling you. During that time, he studied by the side in the evening for completion of the graduation. Joined a distributor's company, then eventually some people from the OEM met that person and felt that this person is such hardworking and I mean so much effort oriented. We should give that person an opportunity. Okay, the person got the break after 5 years of working for the distributor, and from there I have seen no stopping. And Bhaskar, I also know him gaining a lot of weight at one point of time. Okay, and that is around 5-6 years ago. And we even told, as managers, we told that, you know what, if you really want to continue in sales career or in a career where you need to have a lot of public dealing, you have to improve this appearance also, just because it is completely in a different situation. So, and I can tell you, Bhaskar, that person put extreme efforts for the 2 years and completely changed himself. Completely changed himself without going for any surgery, reduced weight by possibly around 30 kgs to get there. And one part I didn't mention, because you mentioned about English also, that person is so well read. Even I do not have that kind of history of reading so many books. So it's about us. How do we take this opportunity? How do we try to develop ourselves? So for a sales career, there are plenty of reading materials, books which are available. I have seen from some of the previous speakers who have come, they have also shared their reading links, right? Urvil Modi, I think somebody mentioned, these are the books which you should read if you really want to excel in sales career. Bhaskar, if you are devoted to this current job and you continue to increase your skill, the way you have taken the decision to join Juno school, you will be spotted for sure. You will be spotted by the OEM, because there is a huge dearth of good salesperson today in the market. It's very, very difficult to get. And the compensation that one person can get from sales is far above than a software engineer's salary. I can quote a figure. A Wipro sales software engineer is getting 3.5 lakhs joining salary. In pharmaceutical companies with incentives, the joining salary is around 5.5 to 6 lakhs, right? And we didn't get talents easily. So there is definitely a lot of potential in terms of building your own career in sales. And the good thing is that it is not required that you need to have a very high-flying degree and all. If you work on yourself, you will be spotted. And your customers will be the best persons. This is very, very critical. Most of the times for your job change, the reference will come from the customer. Generally, the customers only tell the another company, oh, you know what, I have seen a person like Bhaskar who has done a fabulous job with me. Can you take him for your company, because he's fabulous. Bhaskar, the whole industry recruitment happens this way. 50% of the recruitment happens this way only. It doesn't happen through maybe a job portal and all. In sales, what matters is the referral. Okay.
Dibakar, I have Naveen who wants to ask a question. So after that, I will have Trupti. So Trupti, I know you raised your hand and then didn't drop it. So Naveen, can you quickly go ahead with your question, and then I will take on Trupti's question.
Yeah, Sruti's question, I can read it. Okay. And if I have missed out answering any question, because the screen is moving, so you can feel free to ask it. Yeah, Naveen.
Hello, sir. Sir, first of all, thank you for sharing your insights. Like, we have been learning a lot from your experience, but I would like to explain a situation first. Like, we are in a middle of a meeting. It started very well with all of the excitement. The customer is agreeing on every point. But like, say, we are done 90%. And before negotiating our terms or prices, the whole meeting went cold. Like, they are not feeling, they are not even want to respond or something like that. What do you think, why is happening, and what is the reason behind it, and how to overcome this?
Very common situation, Naveen. And that's why it's so important to build a sales funnel or build maximum number of leads. I presume it's a B2B situation. My suggestion will be, if you're working with a lead to conversion ratio or expectation of lead to conversion ratio of 1:5, please first make it 1:10. Negative surprises and delays are the most common things which will happen, and for no particular reason. In this case, it might happen that the the buyers mean the users who are there, they definitely liked your product. So they went back to the finance department and presented the case that we need to buy this particular thing, and by doing that, these are the following benefits we'll get. The CFO has a completely different metric in the organization. The CFO will be earning accolades, rewards for saving money. Okay, and there is no wrong thing about it. In a particular year, the management will be looking for increasing the return for the shareholders, increasing the profitability. And how do you increase profit? Profit is nothing but sales minus expenses, right? Till 2021, particularly in the COVID period of time, you have noticed that in most of the companies, the revenue has come down, right? So to remain at the same profit level, the CFOs or the finance will ensure the expenses should go down accordingly. And to manage that, they have to cut short many of the projects or the procurement program. And that could be one of the reasons that sometimes even a product or service which is very appealing for the end users are not being shortlisted or not being procured in that particular financial year. But Naveen, the process is not over. Generally, in such cases, there is another cycle which can excite the purchaser, and in that case, you need to go back to the people who are excited about the product, and there we typically call them key stakeholders, key opinion leaders, or we tell them that they are the champions of a particular product within the B2B buying environment. You need to go back to the champions and try to understand what is the reason that it is not moving forward. There could be a competitor's offer also. You have a right to know, and you can also know about why things are getting cold.
Dibakar, I have Trupti who's been trying to ask a question for quite some time. Yeah, Trupti, can you go ahead and ask your question, please?
Yes, thank you, Himadri sir.
Welcome.
Yeah. So Dibakar sir, my question is, as I have seen from your introduction that you started your career in Voltas, and then you went to the Godrej. So like, is it okay? Also, it's a subjective matter, but is it okay to change the career in sales with completely different products? As you also mentioned that product will go away, your skills will remain. That is the first question. And second is, what do you think should be the main takeaway from today's topic, that the sales cycle, the long and short of it? Thank you.
Okay, good. Trupti, in the early career, you have that flexibility to choose where do you want to go, and most of the times recruiters are also open because they do know that a person of less than 30 years of age will be looking at different careers, trying out things. So at least in today's India, this is very common. So it should not be an issue on both sides. So being a recruiter, we always give that flexibility or keep that flexibility in the system, that we know that 10 people we are hiring from the campus, 6 will go away. They will be finding their own career. They will be going for MBA. They will be going for something else. Okay. That's completely okay. The second question is about what are the key lessons to learn. One is sales is extremely rewarding career and a central function of any organization. Please keep this in mind, okay? Because you may not eventually, 20 years from now, you may not eventually work in sales function. You can be a part of the marketing function. You can be part of the finance function. I personally reported to CFO for 3 years, change functions. But whatever being said, eventually for any for-profit organization, the central function is gaining sales, right? And gaining customer. So that is one thing. The second important thing for all of you, I'm trying to give that message multiple times, is that your approach to skilling and reskilling will matter the most. That is the central thing. I have seen many people who have started from first line sales operation and eventually becoming the managing director of the company in flat 15-20 years also. So those examples are around us. Please try to emulate those examples. There are people who have started with higher platform, bigger platform, but eventually could not finish off that way. It's a marathon in a corporate career or even in own business. Okay, and at multiple times we need to face those inflection points. At some point of time, you may need to suit a personal lifestyle depending on your family situation, right? I could not continue my consulting career, though extremely rewarding, because of a family situation, because I had a newborn and I could not travel every week for 5 days a week. So depending on that, depending on our personal situation, family situation, you can be flexible about choosing your career. That is the third point. The fourth point is what I'm trying to mention is that if you are choosing sales as a career, you need to know that whether you have an achievement orientation. So there are sports people or somebody who always wants to hit target. They would love this. But somebody who is loving the process of improving a process and all, that person will not get the kick out of a sales career. So knowing personal strength is very important. Just not to go for a particular profession because you feel that it is very rewarding. It can give you extra money than that you can deserve. So that doesn't work that way. Eventually, time is a good leveler, but it's important to focus whether you are interested, you enjoy that process, whether you enjoy meeting people, going out with the people, then making those calls. And you need to be very flexible with the failures, because there will be 80% failures and 20% success. That is going to continue. So you have to improve your hit ratio, right? And that's a very typical question Shruti has asked, that I would like to get a guidance on calculating sales conversion percentage. That is efficiency. How do you increase the conversion? But at the same time, you also need to understand that you have to build your, extend your leads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, my doubt is that, basically we'll have, every month we'll be generating a lead. Okay. So basically, is it the conversion from the new leads generated every month, or like each month we'll be getting the leads that is carried over from the other month also, right? So how is it calculated technically? Mine is a B2C company giving services.
Okay. So you need to have the aging process of the leads also, that you have to define with your, I do not know in which segment you are in.
Mine is a parent company. It is my own company. Actually, I'm a co-founder of that.
Fantastic.
So it's a startup. So
Okay.
that is why I'm from an engineering background. So I don't have the basics of the sales and all that. I'm still studying.
Okay. So Shruti, I mean, I can either, you can give your product example or the service example. If it is okay, then I can tell you that what will be the aging barrier you need to keep. Because for some business, after 3 days, a lead can be taken as a cold lead. But for some business, so for example, Tata Nano Car, I was giving example, we used to maintain a lead book for almost 6-7 months, because there are times when this buying or buying requirements is more emotional. Say for example, Diwali time, a person who has visited a showroom in June may come back in the Diwali time, but during Diwali time, should we tell them that this is a good time, we're giving incentives and all these things? So we keep that leads active for over a 1 year period. But depending on the business, we ensure that whether we want to keep that lead active or not. For example, I know a family member who has a chain of schools, preschools, right? So they could effectively find out how many pre-nursery school requirement can come from the community or that area. But after 1 year, they never used to pursue with that particular family, because they know that if they haven't come to us, they must have gone to somebody else, right? So that is the way the aging of the leads to be taken. And your question is about how do you calculate the sales conversion percentage? There is no written down rules. Depending on the marketing activity, we have to have some guidance about what percentage finally happens. So for example, a direct mailing activity, conversion ratio is never more than 1%. Direct mailing activity, 1%. That even from my earlier experience also I have seen that it could be. Now, if you can find your customer base, or if you can at least define your customer base more targeted, in that case your percentage increase will be more. But if you shoot in the dark, so you put the leaflets in the newspaper, it will go to everybody's place, right? But if you only put it to those where, in this example, where you know that a 3-year-old child is there in that house, so only that place you'll be sending a direct mailer example. In that case, your lead percentage conversion will vary.
Actually, is it calculated from the new leads that is being generated every time, or like
no,
we have to no?
No.
It is calculated from the carried over from the. This is also calculated.
Yes.
Okay.
Because new lead could be on a daily basis. New lead, depending on the B2C. If it's a B2C, it will be daily basis. You're getting.
No, in my case, actually, in every month we'll be calculating every month we'll be doing free programs, and that is how we generate leads. Okay, we provide mentoring services and workshops for parents.
Okay.
So every month we'll be generating new leads. Along with that, as it is a free program, the people who they'll be joining from the, January leads also will be joining for the program in February. So do we have to calculate them also? That is my question.
No, good question. So in this case, you have to keep a metric, or there are softwares also available that suppose you have got 10 names and you have given the first maybe a mailer. How many you are getting? You are not getting any response. Then for the same 10 names, you are doing another activity. After 3-4 activities, if you are not getting any response from 3 of the 10, then that you can remove from the list. That is the removal from the list. But till that time, those 3 names will still there in that 3 months period. Till the time you complete all the 5 activities. We say that these are the sales levers, 5 sales levers for lead conversion. Till the time you complete those 5 sales levers, you have to maintain that lead base.
Okay.
So it will be a progressive one, because by 3 months, end of 3 months, you are getting another new series of leads who are joining. But for them, you are only exercised the first lever.
Okay.
For the remaining series, you have completed.
Okay.
It has to be done on a Excel or a lead management software.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good. I think many good questions have come in. I've tried my best to answer.
Thank you so much, Dibakar. I think we're done with the set of questions that people had for you. And thank you so much, everyone, because being a Saturday, you guys have spent so much time interacting, asking your questions, getting your doubts resolved. I hope that this would actually help you manage the sales cycle practically on the field, rather than keeping it too theoretical, because we've seen that how a B2B space behaves. What is the lead cycle for a product which is high ticket? If you're dealing with government organizations, how does it vary? So thank you so much, Dibakar, and everybody who's been part of the audience today. And hope you try using the tips that Dibakar has shared, because 20 years of experience, 2 decades coming across different products, different formats. And we'll connect in the next masterclass on Saturday. And Dibakar, hope we request you to come on board for another session, because this was really insightful. You taking down every question of all the participants. Thank you so much for being part of the Juno community on this Saturday.
Thanks. It's my pleasure. Learned a lot through interaction. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Let's connect on next Saturday, 12 o'clock sharp. Take care.